Father's Day. First and foremost,
Thank
happy
you very
Father's
much.
Day to you, to all the fathers in the room, right?
Yes.
You're the winners.
Today, anyway.
Yes. Yeah, we're live.
We're live.
Happy
Okay.
Father's Day, live.
Yes. Happy Father's Day to everybody that's out there.
Talking about it, you go with the message.
Yes. Okay. And welcome to the Spirited Society of Virginia. And today's message, once again, is from Emmanuel, from his book, The Vineyard of Light, through the mediumship of Francisco P. de Javier. And today we're going to do a little bit different. We've already rehearsed it. The New Testament reading is from James, chapter 3, verse 10. From the same mouth proceeds blessing and cursing. All right, we will never regret. After having heard hundreds of sentences, we simply make one or two small observations.
We will never regret.
Avoiding any comment alluding to evil, wherever it may be.
We will never regret.
Silencing outbursts of anger.
We will never regret.
Preferring silence in moments of irritation.
We will never regret.
Renouncing frivolous guesses in the smallest conversations.
We will never regret.
Not having an opinion on problems that do not concern us.
We will never regret.
Dodging promises you could not keep.
We will never regret.
Meditating for many hours without opening your lips.
We will never regret.
Just smiling whenever visited by disappointment or bitterness.
We will never regret.
Escaping from complaints of any nature.
We will never regret.
Stimulating the good from all angles.
We will never regret.
Speaking words of forgiveness and kindness.
We will never regret.
Explaining optimism, faith, and hope.
We will never regret.
Exalting confidence in heaven.
We will never regret.
Teaching what is useful, true, and sanctifying.
We will never regret.
Providing information that helps others.
We will never regret.
Expressing good thoughts.
We will never regret.
Formulating calls for fraternity and concord.
We will never regret.
Showing kindness and understanding.
We will never regret.
Strengthening work and education, justice and duty, peace and goodness, even at the sacrifice of one's own heart.
We will never regret.
Which is the last one. Thank you all. Examining the meaning, manner, and direction of your words before pronouncing them.
We will never regret.
Thank you.
We love your dynamic, John. Thank you. We will never regret.
We will never regret.
We'll never forget it, for sure. Oh, words. So let us then pray together now.
What's happening there?
There is a lag. Okay. Let me check here. Yeah, it's working. Does that sound well? It is working, right? It is working. Is it okay now? Yeah. So let us then pray. Anybody who's working over the internet and you find that it's not working, please let us know. Thank you. We invite now everyone to join us in a prayer. Dear Mother, Father God, thank you so much for bringing us together. For this moment of deep therapy for our souls. We now feel ourselves as spirits, immortal, connected to this blessed body, and united with you and one another, and the spirit directors of the Spirit Society of Virginia, who have been leading us to this moment. We feel the blessings and the proposal of the day, pondering on our very impermanence on earth, but in our everlasting existence, our existence in your love. There's so much to learn, and we rejoice with that opportunity. There is much to do with love. We pray for peace on earth. We pray for those who, without noticing, are instruments of disturbance. We offer flowers of peace to them, for they are your children, and you and all of us, we await. They are joining on the good, to the good, for the good. You are all powerful, all love. We want to feel ourselves in your arms, safe, secure, rest. May this session be deeply therapeutic, and may it also benefit everyone who is in our spiritual network, both incarnates and discarnates. May they receive the banquet of your light today and always, and so be it. So, Miss Carol, Miss Daisy, I don't know. No. Unless there is a team who wants to follow along, there's a beautiful lesson to go through. Not. I guess our children celebrated Father's Day, because when it's Mother's Day, the mothers come. But when it's Father's Day, the fathers are not spiritists. And some, a few, they came and we rejoiced. But go ahead and enjoy. All right? You're excited about it. Enjoy, because we want to hear from you later, Virginia. Okay? All right, so let's begin. Let us begin. Our conversation today is about the theme, the power of words. Why? You know that this famous statement in the Bible in Genesis chapter 1 verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. How do we begin anything without words? Any civilization, everything depends on communication. And so, our center began 15 years ago in this building, believe it or not. It was the first workshop that we had in Virginia, though we were living in Baltimore. It was right there, it still exists. We stopped by, there was a healing clinic there. We started there for many months. And then later, the words kept rolling. We moved to a library where words are everything, books. The foundation of the Spiritist Society of Virginia has always been healing words. Healing words. And through the Dolly Madison Library, we went to Patrick Henry Library, I guess, in McLean. And then finally, in 2011, we moved here. We changed a few things over the years. And we remember before we came here, Carlos and I talked to the Valdo Franco, who was around, and he said, quite prophetically, I'm thankful to the benefactor of the valuable space for the center, which will be transformed in a pole of light for the region and our Spiritist movement. These were words said in March of 2011, a month before we moved here in April. And we are always so busy that when I was collecting these things for a video that will come true, Daniel and John are waiting to put together, but we've been gathering the information and we didn't recall the very words that back then we received from the Valdo Franco before we entered the space that was offered by a benefactor. And amazing enough, we realized, it's almost prophetic, will be transformed in a pole of light for the region, our Spiritist movement. Then a few months later, on July 4th, we started Cardiac Radio here. The very studio is there. Of course, now all of the hosts' homes and offices became cardiac radios. There's no radio as spread out as cardiac radio. So, but Valdo Franco was so prophetic with his words, saying that it would be transformed into a pole of light for the Spiritist movement, because now we gather so many people from around the world in different continents who are contributing, collaborating, or spreading the good news of the Spiritist teachings. And it's growing so much that we are literally overwhelmed. We cannot handle how big things have become. And now with the internet and the pandemic, thanks to the pandemic, it just went to another level. The Spiritist magazine is also produced here. So certainly the power of words have been, the spoken, the written words have been permeating our lives. And let's go back to God, the source of every word. When they say God said it, let there be light. Light comes true. We need to remind that Jesus himself explained to us that we needed to observe what we say. From the same mouth proceeds a blessing and a curse. We can create peace in a second with a word or a war. With one word, we can start peace or war. At home, at work, amongst nations. Words are so powerful, and yet we don't train our children in that regard. But today, as we are here studying, there we have a book that we found, and you see at the end when Virginia comes back here, the power in words. A book that is a must for every school, for every teacher, because now our children are more in schools than with their parents. So now it's on the school as well. School cannot no longer wash their hands and say, oh, it's not on us. No, it is on you because our children is most of the time with you. So it's a partnership. You need to help. Or we won't stop hearing about nonsensical shootings. In schools, how does that begin? How does that begin? With bullying, with people feeling left out, etc., etc. So today, the good spirits want us to meditate. There will be two parts, okay? Let me just work it out. Two parts. We'll go through a few information that Spiritism brings, enough to understand about the mechanisms. And then, with one exercise per pair, you will go through another level of feeling, experiencing the power of words. Okay, so let's grab the information that we need. Emmanuel, Chico Xavier's mentor, in one of his hundreds of books, he addressed this question: what's the importance of the human word for the evolutionary conquest of the spirit? Do words impact ourselves? And what is the answer? The word is a divine gift when accompanied by action that witness it. It is through the spoken or written characters that individuals receive their asset, patrimony of sacred experiences from those who preceded them in the evolutionary mechanism of civilizations. It is through the power of words that humanity transmits from generation to generation the divine fire of progress at the blessed school of the earth. And yet, daily in our daily lives, we take words for granted. We misuse them all the time. And then we clash. Sometimes because we don't speak, as John read in this message. Again, Emmanuel. We'll never regret expressing good thoughts, but we do. We withhold. Sometimes we are looking at beautiful things. We look at these flowers. Say it. What is it? Beautiful. Say it. Because you. Thank you, Narcissus. There you go. Because some people are quick to say a negative word, but they linger and hinder in terms of expressing the good words. And what are we doing? We'll see. We will see. We live in a world of relationships and vibrations, so we need to go back to who we are. Because physically, there are many people who say a lot of bad things, who look healthy for how long? And in the next life, they won't be able to speak. Why? Because they use their tongue to whip people out of their lives, creating illnesses in this very vital center chakra. It's going to impact vibrations. Words are vibrations as well. Now we want to talk about the spiritual mechanisms of word use. In one of the many books by Andrea Lewis, this case is Word Curse of the Life Eternal, there is a specific chapter 21 and many others, but this one that talks about every conversation prepares events in accordance with its nature. How often our lives are gloomy, dark, difficult. Well, do the following. Log What are you talking about day and night? Oh, the economy is hard. Life is difficult. Oh my gosh, this is not working well. If we're doing this all day long, how can life be better? Ask Jeff Bezos if he talks those gloomy things every day. I doubt. Talk to Bill Gates, Elon Musk, the Dalai Lama. What do they talk about all day long? Oprah. Negative things. But there are people who are afraid of envy, and then they become negative, not to attract envy. Because they are afraid of being light and happy. Because what if people envy us? And then they prefer to envy themselves by talking negatively about themselves and life and everything. And then life doesn't move forward. We wonder why. Yesterday, talking about depression in a beautiful podcast from a Brazilian spirit psychologist, she was wisely reminding us that behind every depression, there is a rebellious mind that is deeply surrendered to laziness. You look at life, and life is saying, come and work. I don't want it. I want everything ready. Then I depress. My relationship is not ready. Work is not. I'm not winning $1 million, earning $1 million. So then I'm angry in life. And I'm bothered because I have to work very hard till the last day of my life. Because I want to retire early. Because people talk about this nonsense all the time. Retiring early to do nothing. What's the point? And then people become so angry at life, rebelling against God, because they are deep inside not willing to work with life. So true, because people think depression is sadness. No, depression is bottled anger. And our life will be a byproduct of what we think, feel, and say. Naturally, what we do. Before we go to the doctor, we need to see, what do I need to change in the way I feel, I think, I say, and I do. Because if I stay the same way, no medication will heal me. Then, a spirit mentor in the book Workers of the Life Eternal says, as we think, when we speak, we are creating vivid images, producing good or bad consequences according to the origin of the word. Who knew it? That words can be so powerful. Vivid images. The discarnate spirits do not need to talk to us to know where we are, what we like, what we feel, because it's all here printed in our spiritual camera. They look at it and they know exactly our object of interest, our issues. And then, within the vibratory laws that surround us on all sides, see, there are laws of life, like gravity. It is an indirect force of strange and vigorous power, the word, always inducing the veiled objectives of those who assume its intentional direction. I know it's a lot of wording. Bottom line, you know what he means. First, there are laws we cannot defy because either we comply or our lives derail. If we look, how much time do I spend talking about negative things? Percentage. Probably will be shocked. And then we see our lives and we say, oh my gosh, no wonder. How much time do we spend in using this indirect force of strange and vigorous power, which is word? We have an instrument here in our throat. You don't need to be a musician or a singer. We all use this instrument and need to learn to use it wisely. Emmanuel, in the book Calma, says the human voice is loaded with vibrations. Here, when you feel the warmth of your breath, there's a lot of vitality we call ectoplasm that comes with it when we speak. If we could see what comes out of people's mouths, we would either be in awe because it's so beautiful, or we would run far away because it's true poison. Think of texture, smell, color, vibration of everything we speak. What images are we producing when we speak? We're at a time when society doesn't know much about their very power in words. We see the music trend nowadays. Famous people winning the greatest awards, and the songs are always so depressing. I don't want to say that at my dad's time music was better, but sometimes that's how it sounds like, right? Romantic, was deeper, more poetic. What happened? You know what happened? The earth is evolving, and there are layers in the spiritual realm. There is a place that you know named lower zones, crowded. The earth needs to evolve, so we need these people to reincarnate, to evolve, to make a decision. Do you want to evolve with the earth? Because if you don't, you go watch even this innocent movie. It's the Lightyear. It's the toy, right? Buzz Lightyear, Lightyear Buzz. Yeah, Buzz Lightyear. How difficult it is for you to be in an exile. You see, our generations are being called to think. Sometimes in your endeavors, you may end up in another planet. And this is not fiction, it's reality. Planets are not there for us to look at and say, oh, only Earth is inhabited, which doesn't make any sense to us, right? Of course, there are inhabitants in every planet, planets we see, planets we don't see, forms that we may not know for now, but the children are being warned unconsciously. And that's what's going to happen to many. To feel the agony of Buzz Lightyear. He wants to go back to the earth. He wants to go back to the earth. He can't. Well, the movie is beautiful and has messages that are beyond just this aspect. But we want to take from that aspect. We need to help our society understand why we're here. Our children go to school. It's not only about learning math, science, it's about relationships. The power of words. We need to use it wisely. Emmanuel continues by saying at the end of a message in the book Calma, your voice is your sonorous portrait. Oh my gosh. Think about if you could draw it. How do you look like depending on what you speak? We are what we speak. Are we speaking the good? Are we speaking of hope, of compassion, or are we sit at a mall, we look at people and say, oh my gosh, the clothes. Oh my gosh, that person is too fat. Oh my, tape please. Can we just zip that mouth? Can you stop polluting the air? These are children of God. Could be your loved one and you're talking bad about that person. Child of God, just like us. When the Queen Elizabeth, she completed her jubilee, 70 years of service, they say. We, the peasants, far away in the former colony, may look and say, oh, there, that's not service. People served her. She did nothing. If we were in her place, I wish we were completing a jubilee of 70 years in peace, as she does. We think she did nothing, but God wouldn't allow her to be there for 70 years if she didn't have a purpose. We're not saying we agree personally or we think we should go on and on with this royalty thing. That's another point. We're talking about leadership. In some way and form, she represents a form of leadership. Would we do better than her, seated in the same throne and having everything she does? I don't know. I think I wouldn't. That's why God said, you're not going to go there. You don't belong to the royalty. You can't be there because you won't do well. So then we're here and we say, they know what they are doing, God knows. Why this president? Why that king or queen? Why this boss in my work? But not me. Why this employee? Why this colleague? Why this family member? What we feel, what we say, will be a picture. So let us think about this. If you close your eyes for 1 minute, close your eyes. Think of your voice as your portrait, your picture. How does it look like? Now let us breathe in and out and know that we can edit. It's not finalized. We can go there and edit. How we are going to edit? You can open your eyes because now we're going to talk about how we are going to do this. Right? First of all, by knowing that there is a vibratory power in our words. We can change it at any time. For example, there are words and words. Emmanuel says in the book Living Spring, each time we speak our own words, we emit forces that either destroy or edify, that deconstruct or restore, that hurt or heal. There is no neutral word. I'm just saying. You know, people say that. I'm just saying it. No, you're not just saying. You're saying. You're not just saying it. You are saying it. Even Freud says there is an intention on the behind the scenes. So why say it? If I use this instrument to destroy, to hurt, to darken, I create disease, illness, here and later in the next reincarnation. So gossiping is considered by Emmanuel a dead word. So every time we gossip, it's as if we're spreading. Some people want to be vegetarians, but they gossip all the time. It's even worse. Because they are not killing animals, but are killing people. Killing people's images in their very family. We're creating death for us. Illness. Disharmony. In the Brazilian culture, there's a very interesting tale, the frog's tale, by one of the most impacting writers, Monteiro Lobato. He said that there was a frog's race. They were running, and there was a crowd watching. And the crowd didn't believe that the frogs could make it to the finish line. So they would, on and off, the crowd would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't think you're gonna make it. I don't think you're gonna make it." And every now and then, the frogs would attempt to keep on running, and little by little, they would stop. Little by little. Because the crowd kept saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think you're gonna make it. Wrong turn. I don't think you're going to make it. I'm sorry, you don't think you're going to make it." But there was one frog that made to the finish line. Why? You couldn't hear anything. Monteiro Lobato brought this tale to children to teach them, do not hear words of discouragement. How often, when we started Cardiac Radio in 2011, because at first we brought many people who were not spiritists, from Dr. Gary Schwartz to Bernie Siegel, many others, they think they are not spiritists. They think they are already top-level spiritists and they don't know. But who wants a label? We don't need a label. And I remember spiritists coming and saying, "But that's not cardiac radio because you're not talking about cardiac." Okay, I'm glad I'm deaf. I'm glad I don't hear. A word of discouragement. Because if we have heard it, we wouldn't be here today. When we started the Spiritist side of Virginia, and some people asked, but why Virginia? I don't know. The Spirit said so. We're in Baltimore. They said, go to Virginia. You need to start it. Imagine if we have said, but why? When the things are good, you don't ask why. You just do it. You only ask why when things are iffy. When they are good for us, but not for the whole. But when it's going to benefit many, you go crazy with it. And you don't hear any words of discouragement, including from the spirits who come to us. It's the power of darkness. In the book Jesus in the Home, Jesus told a story. They come to us in the ears and they say, who are you? Even to our children, they say, who are you to be the best student? And if they hear it and they get discouraged, they will stop. We need to learn how to activate this selective hearing in those occasions. When people say, I don't think you can do it, that person is speaking the words of darkness. Oh, you're going to open a business. Why? Why? Well, why? Because that's progress. Oh, but why do you want to learn a new language? Why do you want to read this new book? Why do you want to travel? What? And the question is, why not? You want to be dad? Because when people don't do anything, they're just waiting for death. But death is a surprise. Because once you're there, there is no shelter. Is there a home there waiting for us? I don't think so. Because superior spirits don't have a home. They live everywhere. We may have a temporary space, I don't know, maybe not. We'll be embraced by those who love us, but we don't have land in the spiritual realm. No matter how good we do here, nobody buys lands there. That's a story that was told in the blessed church of the past, but it was mistaken. Nobody buys land in the spiritual realm. So when we talk about the power of words, why do we feel so good in the spiritual center? Because here we only talk words of good. We don't come here to talk bad things. And a spirit mentor says to Andrea Luiz, and he reports in the workshop of the Life Eternal, the absence of any less dignified words and the continuous presence of uplifting verbal factors facilitate the elaboration of subtle forces in which divine guides find accessories to adapt in some way to our needs in the common edification. So, combination of absence of less dignified words and uplifting. Then we come here, we feel good. And then we go home and it's iffy. Why? What are we watching at home? What are we listening at home? What are we talking at home? But Vanessa, that's what people do. It's not working for us. It's only creating disharmony. So to wrap up this first part, we want to evoke our guided model in his coherent words of love and firmness. This picture painted by a girl, Akiani. Now she's a beautiful woman when she was younger. From a non-Christian family, she painted this picture. It's just to look at it, you feel the coherence, the harmony. You feel the love and the serenity. If we could look at this picture before we say anything every day, we would probably change our lives dramatically in a very short period of time. We don't want to create a cult around the picture. but it's about the concept. This coherence, this balance, love and firmness. And Jesus was always so kind that even though the disciples were not there yet, he understood, he gave a second chance. Some people say, I can't pray when I feel guilty. No. That's when you should pray more. Because I'm ashamed. No, but don't need to be. Because this therapist does not judge us. He wants to see us exactly when we are feeling guilty and ashamed. And sad. And happy too. But we can't come to this relationship only whenever we feel good. We need it most. He said, I came for the sick, if we're feeling sick. To heal. So today we want to visualize Jesus' hands applying, balancing energies here. To see we balanced in this very power of our lives. We have a few more steps together, few more. But this one, you do it, and then we'll complete together. We have 3 cases here of 3 people that use their words in ways they didn't know any better. Okay? Unfortunately. And we would like you to do in pairs if you want, or 3. It's up to you. If you do in pairs, probably it's going to be easier. You read, it's a summary of the case. There are questions. We'll give you like 10 minutes because it's no more than that. It's very straightforward. And at the end, as we pull up the cases, those who have the case can bring to the general group their insights, okay? We want everybody to use these power words today in that direction, right? And for those who are over the internet, just wait because we will show it to you, okay? So let's do this. We have to distribute, it's like a copy. Yeah. Perfect. Two here. Two. Yeah. Okay. For those who are over the internet, I'll show you one case so you can meditate while they're meditating as well, okay? We don't have to worry. Good. You guys like the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. Is it about the woman?
Do.
Let's begin. Okay. Is there anybody in particular who would like to begin? Oops. Okay. All right. Would it be nice if we get the 3 cases? We got 3 cases. We got 3. A guy, 2 women. Different books. So for those who are with the internet, feel free also to participate with their comments. Is there anybody in particular who would like to come and share here the story that you read and the points that you guys discussed? Anybody? You can raise. Okay, Joe. All right, you can come. All right. Which one is that? The John Tomorrow? Thank God you're the Rosa.
Okay, so we had my wife, Nina, and Vanessa joined us, and she's a teacher. So we had a lot of 2 smart women, and 1 semi-smart man. And, right off the bat, this gentleman, his parents gave him everything. So he felt that, life owed him something, and we talk about that a lot, right? That life owes you something. Now, Vanessa brought up, well, his uncle taught him a lot of things. Well, he did. But we also brought up the fact, and Vanessa reminded us about how important it is for your education from the time you're born to the time you're about 7 or 8 years old. So it was evident that this child needed that particular education at that particular time in his life, so that his pathway as he got older was not going to be so very challenging. And it was just one challenge after the other, and apparently each one of them wasn't enough to wake him up. It wasn't enough to wake him up. Until, of course, this tragedy when his fiance commits suicide and his mother dies from illness, and then he becomes a homeless person. I mean, it's just they should have named him John Procrastination. Now, the second one, what are the words that you usually say that impact your life? And we didn't really get a chance to discuss that. But I think it's about affirmations, and there's that wonderful I Am app that's available that gives you a inspirational message each day to sort of pump you up and get you rolling. Of course, Cardiac Radio does a wonderful job of doing that too. And I guess I'll take the opportunity today to say each one of us can create a spiritual center in our homes. It's very simple to do. If we continually do a God at home each day, then we've got a spiritual center being created within our homes. And how we treat each other at home allows us to bring all those spirits that we're here. And we all know, or many of us know, that when we're here, there's a joy that comes to us. Okay? We just feel better. The other thing I wanted to say was there's a movie that I got from another spiritist friend. It's called Kiss the Earth. And I won't talk a lot about it, but it talks about how you can solve the problem of the climate change. And what's the key word they use? Regenerative farming. And us as spiritists know, what are we going through? We're regenerating the earth. And here is this movement to regenerate the earth. And one of the persons that was responsible for this movie coming into play, his last name is Peacemaker. And he had a dream. And his dream was about how the earth was in this terrible shape. And his granddaughter was saying, look what you let happen. After he came out of that dream is when he started to work on this movie. Anyway, I thought I'd share that. It's so powerful. And it's an example of how you see spiritism in so many things in our lives. It was like, oh, we could have made that movie. It's like a spiritist movie because it has so many components of spiritism.
For those who also read the John Tomorrow story, do you want to add anything? Is there anything else you want to add? He used to say all the time, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. And some spiritists, they say, in the next life. I don't know about next life. Is there anybody else want to add? Can we move to the next case? All right, the next case is the case of, I don't know, it depends who wants to present. Present Camila. Which one you got, Camila?
Fulvio.
Would you mind?
Sure.
Thank you. Please tell us.
So we got the from 2,000 years ago, Fulvio Lentilium, right? The case. So, for those who have read the book from 2,000 years ago, she was not a very nice person. And then all the slander that she created, right? It actually created havoc in Livia's and Senator Publius Lentulus' lives. So, to answer the question, because we were just talking about this one when we started the presentation, but how did Fulvia's choices of words impacted her incarnated life? For a spiritist, that the illness that she created the cancer, right? The words, the thoughts, the the conditions that she created around herself, the vibration that she was putting out was coming back, because everything action and reaction, right? So the cancer sores devouring her vital centers, and she was in the end crazy, a mad woman, right? Seeing all those hallucinations, were they really? Or that's her mind telling her, everything that she did. So it did majorly impact her life. She did not have a very nice end. And how did it impact her discarnation process? She was really going crazy, like insane, right? So she did not, I don't remember much of the book, but we always have the elevated spirits helping us, our loving spirits, right? But if you're not vibrating in that pattern, you're not going to see them, be able to receive their help. So she did not discarnate it was not an easy discarnation. It was very hard. She was really unbalanced, right? Mentally imbalanced. So that goes really well with what we're studying today, the power of words. We really need to watch and pray and watch what we say.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And remember, why is this case so important? Her slander got Livia in trouble, and Livia was the only person who advocated for Christ before the crucifixion. Why is this so important? Because our lives can be much easier if people put a word for us. But it can be very complicated if people try to slander us. You know the subtle slanders? The gossiping. They say, yeah, that person is nice, but, just saying that, it's enough. Then instead of helping that person so we can achieve places, we are hesitant now because somebody said nothing and at the same time everything. They didn't say a word, but what they conveyed was iffy. Iffy enough. I remember, and I'll share this, forgive me. It's not in a personal tone, but it's a good example. 24 years ago, I was so in another mindset, never thinking what would happen later. Two scientists, famous neuroscientists from the United States, were visiting our university in Brazil. I cared less, to tell you the truth, because I was there just doing my thing, my PhD program. I didn't dream of coming to the US, nothing. But I had an invitation back then to give a talk at UCLA. And as silly as I was, my friend and I were together in the lab. We were there watching their presentation. They showed a picture of Baltimore, Maryland. And they were very excited. It looked like a movie to me because his way was like very American. And I was like, oh, and he said, if you're stopping by and you want to visit us, the room was full of people. You can come and visit. And I was so innocent. And I came to him. He was the chairman of the department. I didn't care about those positions back then. Now I'm like, oh my God, the chairman. But then I looked at him and I said, yeah, I'm coming to UCLA. I can come and visit you. I didn't know Baltimore was in the East Coast. You see how when we're young, we're like, I can go from here to China tomorrow. And then he looked at me, we talked. For me, it was just an innocent conversation. Next day, we were there, seated at our desk. And here he comes with the other neuroscientist. In a very funny way, he sat on the table. He was like very dominating. He said, I talked to your mentor. He spoke good things about you. Why don't you come? And I said, yeah, I found out it's the other side of the United States. No problem, we'll pay it. Oh no, but my friend is coming with, we'll pay for her too. You come spend 5 days with us. And then I was like, what did my mentor say? I don't want to move there. I'm just visiting. And he said, but he said, go. And we're having fun. We came. Little did we know, we were marked and destined to be here. The power of words. If my mentor, if I hadn't said anything, if he hadn't said anything, I hadn't said anything, and my mentor hadn't said anything, we wouldn't be here today. Or something would happen here, but not necessarily this way. The power of words. If we can put a good word for people, their lives will change. It will be much easier. Things will flow. Fulvia, poor Fulvia. He created embarrassment not only for her, but for many people, even to the plans of the Christ. So, food for thought. Since we talked about the life of somebody who postponed all the time, John tomorrow or John procrastination, then Fulvia, who used her words to the worst. Now, in the spiritual realm, we're going to see a case that talks about the power of words beyond the physical body. Those who read the case of the book Liberation, anybody would like to come and talk about the case and say what it is and address the discussion points? Anybody? Yeah? You gonna come? Come back. Yeah, people don't know the case, so you can tell the case and then the discussion.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is a delicate case of a remorseful mother. The remorseful mother killed her children and husband while incarnated, attuning to her remorse and guilt. The judge in the afterlife tries to persuade her to feel like an animal, repeating these words. She's nothing but a she-wolf, a wolf, and a wolf. Discussions are, what would you say to the remorseful mother to help her in attuning herself with the good spirits as she deals with her own feelings of guilt? I think one of the possible things we could say would, first of all, put this person in a contact with her remaining good feelings, to suggest her to try to do good to others, if there is any possibility in this context. For her, I say that because I myself, while I was doing assistance to the community, I indeed knew a mother and a wife that had killed the husband in a domestic violence context. And after years and years of abuse, one night she felt that she was being basically almost killed by the abuser, her husband, and she took his own gun and she killed him. And we had to follow the case, but in her case, she was indeed in a prison, and so she could exactly not to be in a position to help others. Maybe her own concern was about her children, that of course she lost all the kids for the family of the deceased husband. And she became more and more, in fact, insane, totally insane. She was getting in a kind of psychiatric treatment inside the part of the prison that was also a psychiatric center. So it was really a delicate situation, because this suggests that in philosophical way, I would say that thinking good, do good for others, try to forgive yourself, restart your life, pray, look for other help. And indeed, we put some people from religious groups besides our work to go there, talk to her, give her ways to connect with spirituality, put her in contact with the family in Brazil, things like that, that would bring her the hope that she could start a new life. But sometimes, as you can see, the person is so lost psychologically and completely out of the possibility to interact with the society and to start good service for others. That is really a process of daily, maybe just do for her what we try to do, to take her as soon as possible from that environment, because in her case, she would not have consciousness about what she did. She was totally out of her mind in that context after so many traumas. And so finally, after years, she was able to got clearance from the governor, and she was sent back, deported to Brazil, to get treatment among her family. So what I would say is that, well, as again, I think that all the words that we could tell to her, I think helped her to believe that other people were supporting her and that she could have any hope to go back to her family one day and also to start a new life. But I think it's mainly, really case by case, because if the person in this kind of, and then we come to the second question, what suggestions or tools would you share with those suffering from the moral delinquency? So we always try to do words of affirmation and suggestion for good readings, sending supportive people, praying for her. But yeah, for me, I think that if the person is out in the society, of course, you can suggest these tools. If the person is already indeed in a kind of a very hard psychiatric level and out of the possibility to interact, just I think maybe pray, 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 pray.
To be
Yeah.
understanding, put ourselves
Yeah.
in the shoes of the other person to understand why this happened, so we can maybe help them.
And at home, the last point is being aware of each one of what each one of, okay, being aware that each one of us can make use of the power of words either constructively or destructively. Brainstorm how to use it more constructively in the following contexts: at home, in relationships, at work, in the community at large, with ourselves. So of course, I think one of the things would be the possibility to say words of affirmation, to compliment people, as was mentioned before wisely by Vanessa, and look for the good that they are doing, do compliments again and again, show appreciation, try to show this the importance to start every morning again, to be out as much as possible of the guilt process. Believe that if you try your best in the next day, you'll be having a new opportunity to reconstruct your life, even though you can have done things out of your desire. So it's just this spread of hope, of trust, and repeat words that will empower each one in the possibility to over and over start and be born every morning. Let me say.
Thank you, Sonia.
So friends, anybody else who got the case wanna add anything? You wanna add anything, Paul? You got the case? No? Oh, you got the full. Yes,
I think what is important too is to give people consciousness about their acts, and maybe make her aware that this was a really bad thing that she killed her husband. It will have consequences, maybe not in this life, but in the other one, and she can reverse that, doing kind acts and acting kindly or trying to be on a lighter path.
the road to redemption. Thank you, Vanessa. Food for thought today, we want to visualize ourselves being more balanced using this instrument. So we are here celebrating the power of words that lead us to moments like this when we use them to the good. Hopefully, we will be healing this power within us to build a new life for being, especially at home. inside of us. Let us then finalize this with a short, it's a meditation on gratitude. Because if one thing is important in life is to be grateful and to express gratitude. Yes.
I would just want to really say about gratitude. I was thinking about Fulvia.
Fulvia.
She has a beautiful life.
Yeah.
She had everything, a good husband. And one thing when I was reading the case, it reminds me how she was so ungrateful. She was envy Livia, but she had the same, like she was in a good position, the husband. How good influence she would be if she was just focused to be thankful with the life that she had, but she was, looking for the other one, the other person, be what she has, what she was. Be thankful.
Thank you, Paul. So Paula contextualized for us the importance of gratitude. It can save lives. So we're going to wrap up for all purposes. During this visualization, this woman, she's going to lead us step by step into this state of gratitude. But let us visualize Jesus before us with his hand on our throat, balancing, healing, so we can use this instrument more wisely. Shall we? And then after that, we'll say our prayer.
Gratitude meditation. Begin by getting into a comfortable seated position. Elongate your spine. Let your hands rest comfortably in your lap. And softly close your eyes. Bring all of your awareness into your breath. Notice how it flows in and out. And on your next inhale, be more intentional with your breath, allowing it to flow all the way down, stomach expanding, and then your rib cage expanding. Holding it at the top, and whenever you're ready, releasing with a sigh. And at the bottom of that breath, repeat this again. Long, deep inhale, stomach and rib cage expanding. Breath is held at the top for however long feels right to you. And then exhale powerfully with a sigh when you're ready. And whenever you reach the bottom of that breath, do this just one more time. Extra deep inhale, really make it count. Stomach and rib cage expanding. Breath is held at the top. And whenever it feels right to you, let it all go with a sigh. At the bottom of this breath, just return to a pattern of breathing that's comfortable for you. Do your best to ensure that your stomach is free to expand on every inhale and contract on every exhale. The more you do this, the more you become aware of how appreciative you are to be able to breathe in this air. To be able to have this moment to yourself right now. To be able to give thanks. Feeling thankful for this very moment. Appreciating your lungs for allowing you to breathe. Appreciating your ears for enabling you to hear this guided meditation. Appreciating your heart and your brain for keeping you alive. And the more you do this, the more you appreciate the very basic things about your physical body that we often take for granted. It begins to build into simply feeling grateful, almost as if for no reason at all. Gratitude for the sake of gratitude. You can say out louder in your mind, thank you. It doesn't have to be to anyone or anything. You are allowed to feel thankful, almost as if for no reason. The more you do, the more it happens. The more often you'll find yourself just simply feeling grateful, without necessarily knowing why. There's so much going on all of the time that is worthy of our gratitude. We don't need to know why we're feeling thankful. There's always a million reasons. The mere fact that there is a planet that is capable of harboring life, a planet that gives us oxygen, sunlight, everything works so beautifully all together for us to be alive. The more scientists try to explore other galaxies where there may be planets in that sweet spot where life is possible, the more we realize how special it is that we exist. Let yourself feel so thankful for the mere fact that you exist. It's no small feat. It truly is amazing. Every moment truly is amazing. All the variations of life on this planet. The fresh water that we have access to. The clothes we're wearing. Our ability to create. Our ability to love. Notice a sense of gratitude building within you, and spend a few moments just relaxing into this feeling without having to direct it at anything in particular. Just relaxing into gratitude for the sake of gratitude. There are so many tiny miracles happening all of the time. The blood pumping through your veins. The cells that are constantly renewing. Your fingernails growing. All these things that you don't have to put any effort into, and yet you're taken care of. You are always taken care of. Relax into the comfort of this. into the comfort that your body is naturally working to take care of you. Your lungs function to give you oxygen. Your heart helps you circulate blood. Your brain gives you all of your brilliant, beautiful ideas. Your bones and muscles work together to allow you to move, to enable you to hug a loved one. Your eyes allow you to view sunsets, flowers, all the beautiful things in life that you hold so dear. There is much to appreciate here. Continue to let this feeling of gratitude circulate throughout your whole being. When you're ready, take this feeling of gratitude with you as you slowly begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. Perhaps moving your sit bones from side to side, rolling your shoulders, and opening your eyes whenever you're ready.
Let us pray together, dear friends. Dear God, you gave us the gift of life. You gave us the air we breathe. You gave our hearts. You gave us the power of choice. The choice to make the most of every day. The choice to choose good words. To choose how we live, where we live, who we live with. And today, dear God, we express our gratitude for everything we have. Dedicating this moment to especially say thank you to the Spiritus Society of Virginia. 15 years, 15 blessed years that have touched so many lives, including ours. We feel so blessed for being invited to partake in the efforts, for choosing to be here today together with friends that are in both realms. We pray for the ones that were here before us that made this happen, for the ones that are here today, that are putting the effort, the works, the good words, and for the ones that are yet to come. We know that together we can conquer much, much more. Feeling this gratitude in us, feeling revitalized and treated, from the good spirits today. We ask for the permission and under your protection always to close these moments of study, and so be it. Dear friends on the internet, thank you so much for joining us. And we will say goodbye for now.
So